Hello, it is Thursday, September 29th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Thursday puzzle today, which means we may well have some kind of interesting or intricate theme, and I just noticed as I said that we can see a few circled cells poking through the gauzy privacy veil in our crossword grid, so that's exciting. And this circled edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Jenny Montague, Jake Rodkin, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in keeping this channel going and supporting this series. I do very much appreciate it. If you'd like to become one of them, a benefactor, and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can of course find that at patreon.com/dailysolve or in a link in the description field underneath the video. And if you become a supporter of the channel at any level, you can get access to all of the bonus videos that go up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And still need to figure out a couple of things about what I'm putting up on there this week, and hopefully getting that acrostic I recorded with no audio. I have to figure out how to repair that. Anyway, what am I going to say? Do subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying these videos. Maybe consider passing it on to a friend as well, if you think you know somebody who might enjoy this. And like the videos, do those sorts of things. And let's get on to the puzzle. This is a Thursday crossword. It was constructed, as always, I was going to say it was constructed, as always, by Jeremy Newton, but as far as I'm aware, Jeremy Newton is not the sole crossword constructor for the New York Times. No, it was constructed by Jeremy Newton, who I think has constructed a few dozen puzzles for the Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shortz. So that's who always does things. And now I always solve this, so let's start doing that. All right, let's play. Cartesian sum. Cartesian sum. Does it mean, is this cogito ergo sum? I think, therefore I am. So this would be I am. Cartesian, René Descartes. Is that referring to Descartes, Cartesian? You'd think I would just know that, but I don't seem to. It seems correct, though. So I'm going to try it and check the crosses. I think that's what that's referring to. Setting for Operation Red Dawn. Is it Iran or Iraq? Which one is Red Dawn? I'm not sure. What was Operation Red Dawn? I don't know. I mean, it just sounds like a military operation, and starting with an I, that's my guess. A void could be an abyss, maybe? Stare into the void, stare into the abyss, that sort of thing. Appeared briefly, made a something. Does that work with this? Molecule in some modern vaccines. No. Okay, well, I suppose this isn't abyss. Never mind. Should have checked that cross immediately, but I didn't. So RNA in many modern vaccines, messenger RNA. So what is this? A void is... Oh, it could be void as a noun, right. I was thinking of void, I was thinking of void as a noun. It could well be void as a verb, to void something, to annul it, to render it null and void. There we go. That looks better. Which is a big deal, considering. So what is that? Which is a big deal. I'm just trying to think how you might say this. Oh, I'm just not sure offhand. It's too long for me to jump to that. This looks like it could well be Iraq at this point, which does seem more likely, just in general. Line. Oh, a queue, as in a queue of people lining up for something. There we go. So what about this? Big band staple. A tuba? I mean, a big band has lots of big bands. The format, not just literally a band that is big, but big band music features quite a lot of brass. So that could be a tuba. What about this? Def Jam for DMX. Well, Def Jam is a music label, so DMX presumably is signed to Def Jam. So there we go. And appeared briefly. So this does look like made made a show, why can't I say it? Which is a big deal considering, and probably has an H here, and that or the. How many salsa dancers dance in heels? There we go. This feels like a tricky crossword. It feels just sort of a little bit, sort of elliptical. You have to think, oh, and you know what's funny is I completely forgot this was a Thursday puzzle, even though I made a point of observing the circled cells. I was thinking, for some reason, as I've been solving it, I was thinking it was themeless. So I was thinking this isn't going to be, but this could well be, I was going to say this could be something punny that relates to the theme, but yeah, actually, because all of these circled cells are in rows with long answers, so there could be something going on there. Anyway, I don't know. We'll come back to it. God knows where, casually. Not sure. Quran keeper, an imam, possibly. Who would be obviously an Islamic religious figure, so that would be plausible. Oh, MIA, missing in action. So you're saying, I was thinking, God knows. So again, I was just stuck on the wrong sense of the word. I was thinking this meant you were describing a place, but in fact, you're describing a person here. That person is MIA. Or I guess it doesn't need to be a person, but the point is a person or thing or something as opposed to the place. Okay, challenging. So this, again, I need to keep this in mind. This could be an adjective or a verb. I guess it could theoretically be a noun, a challenging of somebody, but I really doubt it. Go together nicely. They mesh well, perhaps. Impressive diving score, a 9, I suppose. 10 would be the highest, so 9 would be pretty impressive. Oh, this looks like, and that's something, which is one of the things I sort of expected. So challenging. Why don't I see that? Maker of the split decision breakfast. I don't think challenging is an right, sorry. You're challenging an argument. You're anti that argument. I'm sure there's a better way to say that fits more smoothly, but that's essentially the idea. So so again, I'm not familiar with the split decision breakfast, but I'm guessing it's IHOP, the International House of Pancakes, which is a breakfast restaurant chain. So what about this? Take off. Soar, perhaps, as in, you could say the figures are soaring. They're, or I don't know, sales figures have taken off. They're soaring, something like that. I'm not completely certain. So spa day sounds. Could be Oz. Now, the problem with saying is that you could spell it this way or this way. This way looks more relaxed to me, I have to say. With the two A's, it looks more like a cry of distress, but I think you could plausibly argue it either way, so I don't necessarily know yet. Homeland of the monsters Mothra and Gamera. Well, these are Godzilla. These are monsters from the Godzilla series. So why is Homeland in quotation marks like that? I'm not sure what that means. Is it because they're from the sea or something? I guess Godzilla is. I actually don't know about the other ones. I'm not sure what that's looking for. I'm sorry. I'm sure that's very obvious to people who are more familiar with these films. What about this? Introductory remarks. Well, they could simply be highs. You say hi, and so we're pluralizing it. When you see something like remarks or words, it could be 2 words or more in the answer, or it could be a single word pluralized. And you just have to determine that yourself. I think in this case it's highs. Let's keep looking through the puzzle. Spiff up. Not sure. Oh, miso base. Soy, I would think, right? The miso paste, used in Japanese cuisine, I would think that's soy-based. Spiff up. Oh, still not sure. Chachi's Happy Days, Sweetheart. Oh, well, Joni and Chachi, you kind of hear those names in conjunction. I have seen the show Happy Days, when I was much younger, but I don't actually specifically remember these characters, but I just remember sort of the phrase Joni and Chachi kind of just people use it occasionally to to mean something. I actually don't even entirely know what the implication of that is, but I'm fairly certain that's the answer. So this is referring to the 1970s, I guess. Comedy Happy Days, television comedy Happy Days. Oh, is it just Japan? Oh, why didn't I think of that? Right. So Homeland is suggesting the fictional homeland of these monsters is probably not actually Japan, but their homeland in the sense of the place where they were created as, entertainment is Japan. So there we go. That's their homeland. I don't know why exactly I didn't think of that earlier, but I didn't for some reason. Okay, which is a big deal considering, and that's... And that, why can't I see this, which is a big deal considering. That's very frustrating, I have to admit. Actress Gunn. Well, Anna Gunn was in Breaking Bad, so that may be the answer. And veers sharply, probably ends in an S. A damsel in distress, there's that kind of archetypal figure, a lass, perhaps. Veers sharply, probably has an E here. What about this? Extremist group. I mean, it could be... No, interesting, actually. Maybe this isn't lass. Does this need to... Right. Because this won't be plural. It says extremist group. I guess you could have an extremist group that is the somethings plural, and that could be a single group. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. Spiff up. What about this? Some spots that need polish. Nail. I'm wondering if it means fingernails or toenails. Does that work here? Spiff up. To snazz up, as in make something snazzy. So veers sharply. Oh, zigs, as in zigs and zags. Why did I think that needed to be E? That was incredibly presumptuous and blatantly wrong. Oh, no wonder I couldn't get this, which is a big deal considering, and that's saying something. So how does that work? I was thinking maybe you spell something out in these, but that's too many circled cells. Extremist group. The somethings doesn't really work. I mean, I was thinking maybe we could enter something in as a rebus in the cell. If you didn't know you could do this, which there's always at least one person, understandably, who isn't aware of that. When I solve a puzzle with the rebus, you can. It's the rebus function in the crossword. You can activate it on the website with the rebus button, or you have to use, it's part of the virtual keyboard on the phone app. But in any case, this just doesn't look really correct to me. Damsel. Well, damsel does look like a lass, doesn't it? So extremist group. I'll have to come back to that. I'm not sure yet. This theme is still holding its secret. So takeoff does look like sore, as I suspected. Pet peeves are lice, maybe. Annoyances for a pet. Everybody's doing it. A fad? Just something popular that everybody is engaging in. So it's a good look. My first thought was scar, but I don't know why. That's obviously wrong. Scan? As in it's a way to look at things. And then 35 it's a bad look. So a sneer, maybe. Yeah, scan doesn't really seem like a good look in opposition to sneer, necessarily. Oh, this looks like nail salons, maybe. So... what is going on here? This looks like California, doesn't it? Contest for millions on the West Coast. Is it? It could be a California election. It could be a California lottery. It could be, I mean, yeah, contest or contest, I guess, if we're using it as a verb. And there are several options there. Although the A would be shared between nail salon and California, although obviously it's not sufficient. So what about this? Group often told to go. And eyes, poetically, could be orbs. Are eyes referred to as orbs in poetry? Probably. So this looks like maybe California Lotto, but I mean, that would be AL here. ALO, in fact. So let's just put that in. So ALO works with nail salons and California Lotto. And then that would just be two O's. So what does that mean? Then there's just a T in here and nothing special going on. I do not understand. Nail salons. Here we have part of a healing process would be a scab that your body forms. And then a group often told to go, oh, go team, people might say. Okay, fair enough. A group putting out electronic music, a techno band? Do you refer to people making techno as a band? Let's look at the crosses. One who may be out of the habit, a nun. So this is referring to a nun's habit, the outfit associated with nuns. And then word with clean or rot. You could have dry cleaning or dry rot. So there we go. So I guess band is correct. That's funny. Techno band, it just sounds odd to me. Come back. If something comes back, it recurs. It reoccurs, essentially. Fashion house with a Manhattan headquarters. Well, you often see DKNY, which I think is Donna Karen, New York, fashion designer. Presumably, I mean, I assume that is the name of a specific designer. It shortly is. Floated for fun, in a way. Don't know, I'm not seeing it. El Blanc de los Anillos, translation of a Tolkien title. I mean, this looks like it's probably Lord of the Rings. So how would you say Lord? El Señor? Get Blank, 2014 James Brown biopic. Get On Up. I haven't seen this, but that's there's a James Brown song, Get On Up, so that's probably the name of the film. Oh fudge. Rats, maybe, something like that. I mean, I mentioned yesterday, you'll want, when you have a quoted exclamation of this sort, you'll want to match the tone of the clue to the answer. So you could imagine somebody saying, oh fudge, in a very similar context to someone who might say rats. They're just sort of similar in tone. But in any case, a landscaping tool could be an edger, for trimming shrubbery and things like that. Okay, like a blocked penalty kick in soccer. Well, if it were blocked, I guess it would have been on goal. So here we have another. Oh, and that's saying, it's not that saying something, it's that saying a lot. I'm very sorry if you've been seeing this. So we're spelling a lot in each case, and we're starting with a full rebus, and then in each instance of the theme entry, we are reducing one letter from the rebus and spelling that letter out in the answer. I'm sorry. So AL and then OT, and then here we will simply spell out a lot, and that's saying a lot. And that's saying a lot. Yeah, okay, I see it. I see it when you put the stress on in that particular way. And that's saying a lot, which is a big deal considering, yeah. Okay, fair enough, that works out. And then our extremist group is a group of zealots. So there we go. It was plural, but we are collectively referring to the group of zealots, which is why it's a singular clue. Okay, and then we do have nail salons, California Lotto, that all works out. Okay, boy. That really foxed me. Okay, group with the 1977 hit double album Out of the Blue would be ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. And father of Norway's King Harald. Well, I think I've seen this person spelled both Olav and Olaf. So, maybe one of those is actually incorrect, but let's check the crosses. World's largest producer of black pepper. Interesting. What about this one? Popular skin moisturizer. Well, it looks like lotion, doesn't it? Popular skin moisturizer. Is it aloe vera lotion? Are we getting the official medicinal plant of the New York Times crossword into a much longer clue? I wouldn't probably have jumped straight to this if not for the extremely frequent presence of aloe in the New York Times crossword as just a common way to fill grid space. So let's look at here. Look at this. Appeared briefly. Oh, made a cameo. Yes, indeed. So that does specifically generally imply that you've appeared only briefly. If you had a cameo appearance in a film, for instance, you showed up in a scene, often memorably but briefly. Okay, Sierra Nevada's dankful, e.g. in brief. Dankful. Oh, well, I've never heard of this, but Sierra Nevada is a brewery. So I'm wondering if this is a kind of beer, an IPA. And IPAs are, they're very hoppy. They have very, very strong, bitter flavors. So I'm wondering if that's why it's particularly dank. Is it dankful? Is that what that's getting at? That's my suspicion about this answer. Okay, starting point for a plan. An idea leads to, I guess, a detailed plan. And if something is tear-stained, perhaps as a handkerchief, for instance, it could be damp. Beach mold is a pail. You create, the tower of a sandcastle by molding it with a pail, molding your damp sand. Okay, common refrain in pre-K circles, E-I-E-I-O, from the children's song Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And a quiche base, I would have said pie crust, but what does that mean? Here we have fertility clinic donations are ova, so egg donations, and printing giant Epson. Yeah. Epson is the printer manufacturer, I think. I think it's a Japanese printer manufacturer. And then go off is to riot, maybe, just in a sort of metaphorical sense. And then here we have family man, Poppy, maybe? Or Papa, maybe. Is there a way this could be go off? Rant. Okay, I think those are both fairly plausible. But Poppy, I would have expected it to indicate some kind of, Spanish allusion in the clue. There would be something maybe suggesting that. But in any case, go off looks like rant. And word with shoe or cap, you could have snow caps on a mountain or snowshoes in the snow. Tweeters, that said, you could say maybe OTOH, on the other hand. Yeah, that said, on the other hand, that sort of thing on a social media post, hence the tweeter. And then socially with it. Woke, I guess this is. And then here we have Big Wheels Place. Big Wheels Place. And then often pickled pods, okra. You could have pickled okra, the vegetable. And what about this? Certain link. A URL maybe? Uniform resource locator. Hyperlink on a website. Big Wheels Place. What is that? Just referring to hell? Some kind of torture device or something? Like, someone's strapped to the wheel? That seems like a bit of a reach. I don't know. Let's keep looking around. Here's our revealer. So many layers here, or a hint to the circle squares. That's a lot to unpack. Maybe it's a lot to unpack. There we go. That wouldn't have fit in a standard crossword grid. So it's a lot to unpack. There we go. I think that's probably the answer, and that is our revealer. And indeed, we have literally been unpacking the word a lot. Very clever. Oh, a pie plate maybe is a quiche base. That's funny. Okay, so you right. It would be physically placed. It would be on a pie plate. And presenter of many games. ESPN maybe, the US-based sports network. Take off fast without. You could peel out in a car. So, spin your tires and then peel out. Pocket stuffed with tabbouleh, maybe, a pita bread. And a big hit might break it. Oh, you could have a hit song that breaks the top 10, breaks into the top 10 chart. Windsor Castle neighbor. So, not far from where I am, just outside of London, is Eton, the town and location of the famous private preparatory school, and Windsor Castle is near it. Okay, result of an architect's winging it could be, I guess, an annex. And then an annex, a kind of addition to a building or complex, is often referred to as an annex. So, or an extra wing. They built an extra wing on the building. So, and then what was this? First name in DC Comics villainy, right? So Lex Luthor is an antagonist of Superman. So there's the first name. And often when you see this first name, obviously when people say, the first name in, I don't know, manufacturing or something, they often actually mean a surname, a last name, or a company name. In the New York Times crossword, usually it means both a preeminent name and also literally the first name of that person, the given name. First name usually does double duty in that respect. Okay, and what is this? Why can't I see the world's largest producer of black pepper or the Big Wheels place? That is surprising. Floated for fun in a way. Tubed, as in you had an inflatable tube on the water. So, Vietnam. There we go. I don't know why that was tricky to see. So here we have Olav with a V and then Vietnam. Oh, a helm, the wheel of a ship. Right, okay, that's much more sensible than my slightly tortured answer. Tortured to pun, I guess, intended. I'm going to declare it was intended. And there we have it. That was the crossword for today. I was absolutely flummoxed by this theme for quite some time. I think it took me until the third one down here. Popular Skin Moisturizer when I saw it? I can't remember where I figured it out. It was something, I think it was maybe this one. Anyway, it was a lot to unpack for me, I have to admit. So we had, and that's saying a lot, California Lotto, aloe vera lotion, can't really pronounce that with a lot, and finally, it's a lot to unpack. Or so many layers here, which indeed there were. We had 4 layers in this theme, and it came together nicely in the end. That was a good for a Thursday, in that I saw it before it was complete, but I had to, I had to solve at least half of it in order to get to that point, but it still gave me some extra letters down in the grid. I was able to jump straight to putting those in once I finally figured it out, which was nice. And I think, not a brutally difficult Thursday puzzle, but no pushover either. I mean, it definitely felt like a step up from yesterday to me. But let me know how you felt about that. Fun Thursday theme. And now let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's crossword. I did have a few highlighted. So here, ZOR95 corrects my misremembering about Igbo and where it's spoken. ZOR95 says the Igbo language is in fact spoken mostly in southern Nigeria and surrounding areas, being the principal native language of the ethnic group of the same name. It also provides a number of loanwords to Jamaican patois. So thank you. That very good correction there. Stephen Giblin explains something about which I was completely clueless. Commercials for Parquet margarine in the 1960s would feature a talking margarine tub that would repeat the word butter, leading up to the tagline, "The flavor says butter." So there we go. That was new to me. And Richard Lorenzen explains the NRC is the acronym for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, who regulate nuclear power reactors in the United States. So thank you for that. I was trying to reconcile that clue with which I now still can't remember anyway, the whatever the international kind of similar oversight organization is from the UN, because they've been in the news due to the situation at Zaporizhia in Ukraine. So I had been trying to remember that, couldn't, still seem to be unable to. But in any case, it was the US agency, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, that I was unable to think of. So thank you, Richard. And I think that's all I had. There may have been others, but that was what I happened to grab a moment ago. And I hope you enjoyed the puzzle. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the Friday puzzle, which really will be a themeless crossword, as I inexplicably expected this one to be for about a 2-minute period after pressing start, despite just having commented otherwise. So I don't know what was going on with that, but that will be, in fact, what happens tomorrow. I hope I don't waste a bunch of time looking for a theme. You'll have to find out whether or not I do by joining me for that video. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.